from Georgia, from the battleground for our republic in many ways. I'm driving to work and I have an early meeting, but I wanted to come on and talk to all of you because I was too dead tired to talk to all of you last night. Hello, Danielle. Thank you for tuning in. YouTube took down my live stream from 2 mornings ago. If you guys remember, we broadcasted and we talked about the vaccines. We talked about the Johnson and Johnson vaccine being suspended and why that's being suspended while other vaccines that are having issues are not being suspended. Everything I said, I can show sources. There was no misinformation in what I said. Most of what I said can be backed up by mainstream media reports. Most of what I said can be backed up by government data. I was not sharing fringe theories. I was not sharing unproven conspiracy theories, even though a lot more of these alleged conspiracy theories are turning out to be true. Things that people were censored for talking about a year ago, like microchips, are now being discussed in the mainstream. Things like vaccine passports are already being implemented. Yesterday's conspiracy theories are becoming reality. Go figure. Well, YouTube went ahead, and we'll see if they do it for this one, hopefully not. But YouTube went ahead and removed my live video and gave me a warning on my account. Now, if I infract again, if they don't like this broadcast, for example, or they don't like a broadcast I do next week, they're going to give me a strike against my account. What a strike will prohibit me from uploading any videos or doing any live broadcasts for an entire week. A second strike, 2 weeks. 3 strikes, my account will be banned for life. We've already seen very prominent accounts being suspended from YouTube. Now, this is not for violating any kind of decorum. This is not for, stirring up hate or anything. I understand people being suspended for that. I even understand, even though I don't agree with it, people being suspended from YouTube who are sharing theories that they don't like, etc. Like things that are a little fringy, like, the border on the extremism. I can even understand that. But here's the thing. They're trying to stop vaccine misinformation. They added that into their thing. So if you share anything that goes against the mainstream narrative of vaccines, or if you share anything, what they call election disinformation, if you upload a video onto YouTube showing how there was fraud in the 2020 elections, if you do any of those things, you will be silenced. They will not allow that. And what's really disturbing about this is, I was talking to my wife yesterday about it, and I said, at first it was that they would enforce the terms of service unequally. So, they would censor a right wing person while they wouldn't censor a left wing person. They would say, oh, the right wing person is espousing anti Semitism or racism or hatred of some sort, against migrants, because they're anti immigration. But, some far left person who is espousing hatred is allowed to stay on there. At first, that's what was going on. Gino, thank you so much for the Super Heart reward right there. So that's what was first going on. Now they are silencing entire topics of speech unilaterally across the board. They've changed their terms of service to make it so entire topics of speech are unmentionable. They're trying to wipe certain topics off of the internet. And it's not just YouTube. That's why I did hashtag corporate fascism, because that's what's going on. They don't want us to talk about the dangers of vaccines because they want to push it on all of us. They don't want us to talk about what happened in the 2020 elections because they want to sweep that under the rug. And we see how mainstream corporate media is editorializing. I'll read a thing and, so and so was making false claims about election fraud. No, that's not what journalism is supposed to do. Journalism isn't supposed to, say those kind of things emphatically. They're supposed to investigate. They're supposed to explain uh, why people think that there was fraud. They're supposed to explore that. There's very little true journalism going on. I love the Epoch Times. They're doing it. If you're not following the Epoch Times, you need to follow them. Get on their email list so their news stories come straight into your email box. They're they're doing the stories that no one else will do. And Danielle, thank you for that super hard. I appreciate it. So what next? Because Instagram has limited my account, so I'm no longer able to go live on Instagram. I never even went live on Instagram, by the way. I think maybe once when I first moved to Georgia, I was like, "Hey, I'm here in Georgia." I went live on Instagram, but they limited me because I had uploaded too many flagged posts. So they took away my live streaming ability on Instagram. Well, you know what videos did it? When I uploaded videos from the US Capitol. By the way, an example of how that is, Slate just published an article I was reading from their journalist talking about what he saw when he wandered into the Capitol. Here's what's amazing. I bet you that Slate journalist is not being prosecuted from the FBI. I bet you that Slate journalist is not receiving criminal charges like the independent journalists who wandered into the Capitol. I mean, the federal government is going after my friend Daniel Goodwin, who is there in a journalistic capacity. They're going after an InfoWars reporter. You know, they're they're going after my friend Christopher Drew. I don't think they're actually prosecuting him, but they served him a search warrant. They raided his apartment, and they're still holding on to his stuff, including like Trump hats. I mean, these are what they are doing, going after independent journalists who did the exact same thing as mainstream journalists, like the Slate reporter, like the I think there was a CNN reporter who wandered into the Capitol too, who was there with the BLM activist. I mean that guy, I forgot his name, but he's made like $40,000. He was paid $40,000 by the mainstream media for his um, coverage of the Capitol excursion or whatever we want to call it. And now he's being prosecuted. But and that's the other thing. Like all the media is calling it an insurrection. If that was an insurrection, I don't know what an actual insurrection will be called. I mean, that was a protest. You know, and when the anti-Kavanaugh protesters took over the Capitol building, it was called peaceful protests. See, the mainstream media is trying to control the narrative, and big tech is working with them to silence independent voices like me and like others who are going against the mainstream narrative. So where do we go from here, my friends? Where do we go from here? Well, those who have been following me for quite some time, I've been negative about leaving the mainstream platforms. I've been critical of that. And I've been critical about jumping on platforms like Gab and Parler. Even though I am on Parler, I have my username on Gab, but I haven't really done anything on there. But I've been critical about that because I don't like the fact that it's an echo chamber. It's only us conservatives, and, and that's something that it kind of grates against me because one of the things I love about Twitter or loved. I've been on Twitter for 12 years now. I was a relatively early adopter of Twitter. And one of the things I liked about Twitter, or liked, was I could follow people on both sides. It wasn't an echo chamber. I could interact with leftists and they could interact with me. I could follow people on the left, on the far left, uh, like, Linda Sarzauer and Sean Keane, even though those two have blocked me. But, I follow these other people, so I understand where they're coming from. I understand their narrative. And I feel like I've been able to influence not the leaders, but other people who are on the left. I've been able to broaden people's minds. So I like that. I don't like the echo chamber. But here's the problem. There are entire topics now that we can't talk about on social media. If we talk about them on the mainstream platforms, we will be shadow banned. We will have our accounts limited, like what happened with my Instagram. Or we can even have our accounts taken away from us, like YouTube is threatening to do with me. So we need to form our own gulags, so to speak, our own social media platforms. I'm not saying let's abandon the mainstream platforms. I'm still going to be on there until they kick me off. So follow me on all of them: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, here on Haps. Follow me on Parler. Follow me on all of the networks. But we need to be building out the alternatives. And I'm really excited about Mike Lindell's frank speech. I really like the name of it. I also like the fact that it's going to be like a YouTube Twitter hybrid. So, like, you can post like short posts and videos. I'm really excited about that potential. And I'm excited about the fact that he's like, hey, there's going to be no censorship. The only things that will be limited is anything that threatens violence and profanity. There's going to be certain profane words that are not allowed. I love that. It says something also about about the kind of guy that Mike Lindell is. He doesn't want F-bombs on his platform. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to be on Frank's speech. I'm going to be an early adopter. I've already gone on there to, do, my little thing. So I'll be notified when they go live on Monday. And yeah, I'm going to be jumping on there. Believe me. And we'll see what the capabilities are. But we need to be in places. We need to form our own communities. That's the thing. There's a balkanization of America happening. There's going to be a geographic balkanization, and I've been talking about that a little bit, and I'm going to be talking about it more and more. But there's also an ideological balkanization that's happening. So we need to be able to talk freely and share information, because there's a lot of people on the right. There's a lot of conservatives who don't understand the full magnitude of, for example, the election interference that happened. I mean, they know that something happened, but they don't realize what happened, because those things are not being allowed to be broadcasted. They don't know a lot of the vaccine information is silenced. I used to be part of this Facebook group that was like a vaccine freedom Facebook group. Nothing. This was like long before COVID, and Facebook limited that page, so I don't even see that stuff in my news feed. I think it's still up, like if I go over and click on it, but I got so much information on there that educated me on decision as I was making decisions for my child. And there was information. Some of the information was faulty, but you could fact check everything, and people posted links to sources, which was very helpful. So that I loved. You could check out the sources, but a lot of these sources, a lot of these peer-reviewed studies that are critical of vaccines, Facebook will take it down if I upload it. Instagram won't allow me to make a post about it. You can even get censored just for posting a video of someone who is injured by a vaccine. It's crazy. You can get silence, and you can get a video taken down when you post a 60-second video from the top of the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. It's weird. Mainstream media can post videos that actually show real violence, but a video that shows people peacefully singing the Star Spangled Banner gets taken down, and you suffer. So we're not able to get the information out. So we have to go to alternative sources. That's why we've been going to alternative media like InfoWars. And I have, mixed feelings about InfoWars, but they do a lot of good work. Alternative media like the Epoch Times, like other independent journalists. Laura Loomer does a lot of good work. Veritas. Oh, Project Veritas. What they did this week with CNN, amazing. And what happens? Twitter retaliates by taking James O'Keefe's Twitter account down for no reason, no good reason. See, it's those kind of things. They're trying to keep Project Veritas from being able to put that stuff in front of us. So that's why we need to jump on to the alternative media. We need to form our own communities. We need to do that online, and we need to do that in person within our communities. We need to form our own conservative action groups, and we also need to look at forming our own conservative communities geographically. Yeah, and O'Keefe is suing Twitter, which is great. I hope he wins, because he's suing them for defamation. He usually wins. I mean, we need to find out who his attorneys are, and get them. Boy, if I ever need legal help, I would love to have his legal team. Anyway, that's it, my friends. God bless all of you. Please follow me on all of the networks while I'm still up there. Get on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of content on Instagram stories lately. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter, Parler, YouTube as well. And when Frank's speech goes live, we'll all find each other over there as well. God bless all of you, and may God bless the United States of America.